Hi everyone, welcome to my home and my art gallery in Las Vegas. When you come to Las Vegas, give me a call and come on over. I want you to see my good works. Um, this story is going to be very short but very wonderful. I used to see this wonderful movie star in the Palace Theater and Paramount Theater and the Iowa Theater and State Theater and Times Theater for years when I was a little kid because my parents had to work in their beautiful restaurants and they put me in the movie houses for my babysitter. And I was very much at home there. I loved being with the big movie stars because I dreamed maybe maybe I could do that too someday. Anyway, one of the movie stars I enjoyed in the movies was a man by the name of George Montgomery. George Montgomery was not only a movie star, but he was an architect. He was a designer of furniture and furniture maker. And many of his works are in the homes of very famous celebrities. And he was married to Dinah Shore for years, and but I never had the pleasure of meeting him until I um, I was commissioned to create the now famous sculpture for Danny Thomas's St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Danny was the founder and my dear friend. And so I had the commission and knew what I wanted to do, or I thought I did, but it all changed when I prayed to the Holy Spirit to guide me. He wanted my sculpture to be in another form than I had anticipated. And the Holy Spirit was right. So anyway, this wonderful sculpture came about. I created it, and I didn't know what I wanted to do as the finalization of its form. I wanted to do it this way, and when I met George Montgomery at the Gene Autry Western Heritage Museum in Los Angeles, he was signing his book, and he has a wonderful book, uh, a book of his art and his music and his no, not his music, his art and his furniture, and he has a permanent display of his works at the Palm Springs Desert Museum of Art. So if you're in Palm Springs, go to see his work and his paintings. You'll enjoy him very much. But I met him at the West Gene Autry Museum, and I bought a book from him. He signed it, and he asked me about the sculptures because he was a sculptor. He created bronzes of the old Western cowboys on horses, and he even did one of John Wayne on a horse. So he was very versatile as an artist. We had a long talk, and he said, "Gary, if you need any help, you need to talk to another artist, call me." He said, "Here's my number." So, so in my dilemma, I called him one night and left a message, told him I wanted to talk to him. Well, in a few days, I got sick with the flu, and I could barely talk. But he called one night, and he wanted to talk about my problems and how he could help me with my dilemma. But I forced myself to talk. I was so sick. But I was thrilled to hear his voice and hear what he had to say. He said, "Gary, with what you've created, you should do it, have it produced in bronze. I said, I don't know anything about that, George. Now, George Montgomery is the movie star and the architect and the sculptor and wood maker. He was everything wonderful. And he's spending, and our conversation lasted at least 45 minutes. And he said, I want to give you the phone number and the name of my producer of bronze for me. And you take what you have, your sculpture, to him and have him tell you what he can do. And I said, well, thank you so much. So that's what I did. I went to his foundry and I talked to the owner. I showed him what I had and I said, by the way, how long do you think it took me to create this sculpture for St. Jude? He said, 5 years. I said, what? He said, oh my. He said, you have so much expression in the features of the children. They almost look like angels to me. And I said to him, I told him about the Holy Spirit and how the Holy Spirit helped me to guide me to do the best that I could. I really was not a sculptor. I was an art teacher. I was a portrait artist, but I wasn't a sculptor. But I accepted the commission because Danny believed in me. Anyway, he said, so when I told him how long it took me, he said, you're kidding. You're kidding. He said, this is a monumental work of art. And it is, because of the Holy Spirit. But George Montgomery is responsible for suggesting that I take my sculpture to his foundry, and I'm so glad I did. And I'm so glad I met George. He was so down to earth, so wonderful, so great in the movies, and I miss him as my friend. I really do. But I thank him from my heart. And I know he's in heaven, and I'll never be able to thank him enough. Thank you for listening, and I will feature my sculpture with this video so you can see what I finally did. It's the pre-bronze, the clay sculpture that later turned into bronze. Okay? I wish you every good thing. I wish you health. And more than wealth, I wish you love. And that's from the old song, I Wish You Love. So here's to you. You've got the talent. You've got the dreams. Make them all come true. That's what I did. Thanks to George and Danny Thomas. Love you all. Bye.